What's up, guys? My name's KhaoticK, back at you guys with a little one today. We're coming at you with a new review. And in this review, we are going to be reviewing 3-fluoroamphetamine. And this one is very similar to 4-fluoroamphetamine, although it's not as tactogenic, not as, rolly, I guess you could say. But however, when you take 50 milligrams, at least with 3FA, it does actually feel a lot more similar to 4FA than I would have anticipated, and I'm gonna get right into that. Very nice chemical, and unfortunately, it got banned recently, and now I only have one pill left, bro. And it was kind of the same story with 4FA, but 4FA I ran out of, and unfortunately, I don't think I'm ever gonna get that again. But doesn't matter because I got 4FMA, which is always the best, in my opinion, the best MDMA alternative. Anyways, I hope you guys will stay high, so let's get right into this review. So, 3-fluoroamphetamine, this one feels more like a stimulant, I guess, in a lower dose range. I never tried it in a lower dose range because fuck that. I just want to feel like the entactogenic effects. And the entactogenic effects definitely come into fruition when you take 50 milligrams. So you have to take at least 50 milligrams, at least in my opinion, to be feeling entactogenic effects. Maybe you could take half that dose and still feel it. I am not sure, but go ahead and see if that may or may not work for you. Obviously, lower body weight would have a more increased effect of the drug in your body. So for me, almost close to 200 pounds, almost 6 feet, like 5'11", roughly. Yeah, I felt it at 50 milligrams. And I did combine it with 4FMA. I wanted to see if that felt like combining 4FA and 4FMA. And it kind of did. It was a little bit hit or miss. Although, what was interesting, the 4FMA, I don't know if it was the 4FMA. I think it was, but they compete for the receptors for sure. So, 3FA and 4FMA together kind of blunted both of their effects. Yeah, it was really interesting. It didn't really synergize that well, meaning, yeah, you're going to feel less of the 4FMA because I guess, yeah, they're both competing for the same receptors. Sometimes when you take drugs, it doesn't really always equal better when you obviously take a combination. Never take combinations. It's not safe. But when you do, you may or may not feel the drugs the same, obviously, because they will be competing for the receptor. So, yeah, watch out for that there. But 3-fluoroamphetamine, definitely very interesting. I don't know if it's new or anything, but it's, I guess, semi-new. At least to me, it's new. I don't know how long it's been around. Probably for the last decade, roughly. Maybe the last 2 decades at the most. So I'm not really sure about the pharmacology when it was synthesized, who synthesized it. But anyways, I'm going to get into the effects. So, it takes about up to an hour to fully come into effect, obviously. These rolly type of compounds, they do take up to an hour for it to peak in your blood, but you will start feeling something after 20 to 30 minutes. And pills take some time to digest, obviously. But 3-fluoroamphetamine, honestly, I really love this one, bro. And I was supposed to get powder of this stuff, but it may or may not have been that risky to ship over here because it was international, bro. So I'm not sure, but the vendor kind of fucked me over, bro. I was supposed to get 3 grams of 3FA, bro, and I only ended up getting a 1/4 gram at most. I ended up getting only 5 50 milligram 3FA pills, and I used 4 of them, thinking I was going to get more, and now I'm not. So, unfortunately, this is going to have to go into the stash for the foreseeable future. Just because, yeah, I have some OCD about wanting to keep a chemical like that. 4FA, I would have kept at least one of those pills, but I don't know, bro. I really thought I could probably get it again, but, man, I cannot find any source for 4FA anymore. So, that's over. But 4FMA, again, I am happy I do have a source for that. Domestic, by the way. That's amazing. That's amazing here in the States to have a domestic source for RCs. Anyways, the main effects, it did feel calming. Music was very, very enhanced. I do have to say that. Music was very enhanced. Much like 4FA, much like 4FMA, much like MDMA, even. Obviously not as intense as MDMA. Not in any way, shape, or form. This one felt like it was like a nice drug to take on a beach, or it's not going to make you look drugged out. Your eyes are not even going to dilate. Maybe in a higher dose, like 100 milligrams. But 50 milligrams, nah, bro. That shit was not dilating. That shit felt awesome. That shit felt good. That shit felt amazing. And very nice drug. Very calming, kind of stony a little bit. It can make you feel tired for sure. It definitely has serotonin action. Some people say it doesn't, but no, this one has serotonin action, bro. 100%, okay? Coming from the guy that has used so many serotonin releasing compounds. Oh yeah, it has serotonin act. So be wary when you're combining with any serotonin releasers, anything that may or may not affect the heart rate even. Be wary of combining it with stimulants because it is a stimulant on its own, obviously. But as long as you stick it to sensible doses, you should not be risking anything. You should be very happy. You should be very awesome with your experience there. And leave it down in the comments if you guys have tried 3FA. I am very interested in hearing about those stories. But other than that, it's really not much other than a very nice, calming, sort of rolly, more so like a music and tactogenic enhancement, kind of like drug. It's not gonna put the euphoria right on the table like MDMA. It's not gonna put that shit like right in the front of your experience. Like, you're not gonna be feeling like so orgasmic. You're not gonna feel nothing like that. You're gonna feel normal. You're gonna feel more normal than anything, for sure. I think 3FEA is probably more rolly than this one, and definitely 3FEA and 2FEA combined, definitely more rolly than 3FA. But don't expect a bunch of energy with 3FA. There's like almost no energy, quite low on the dopamine surge. I don't know. Like, it doesn't really feel like it really affects dopamine that well. It definitely affects serotonin though, 100%. For sure. I know it affects dopamine obviously, but like what I'm trying to say is like, it doesn't feel like a stim, like a normal stim, like 2FA or 2FMA or 3FMA even. Yeah, it doesn't feel like a stimulatory compound. Definitely a lot more calming. So your anxiety on this compound is almost none, bro. You're not gonna be feeling no anxiety. You're gonna be feeling great. You're gonna feel awesome, bro. And keep that in mind when you are trying it for your first time. I wouldn't be too worried about you having a bad experience at all. Yeah. And please test this compound, as it could always be just anything in those pills, So definitely want to watch out. You don't want to get anything cut in those pills. And yeah, so be wary of that. Be on the lookout for fakes. Definitely nowadays, bro, don't even trust any sources for this stuff, by the way. And especially if it's, international as well. If it's definitely coming from the Netherlands, do not buy it, bro. That's 100% a scam. It's been banned. Unless they have it on the dark web. That's probably the only place I would probably still trust it, because that obviously shows they're definitely getting around the ban and they're still trying to, they're still trying to sell these illegally. I am not sure, give it a few months. We may or may not get new compounds that could get around the bans as well. Or you could start seeing stuff show up on the dark web a lot more, which I do see happening. I am not sure. I'm hoping that there are some vendors out there, chemists even, that will still synthesize this stuff. But I'm fortunate to say that whoever's, synthesized it or is synthesizing it is probably going to hog it, because they know how rare it is. Or they might be able to sell it at a higher cost. Hopefully, bro. I would still buy it at a higher cost, bro, because these are banned chemicals. But, if I were to get it again, I would only pick up 3FA. That'd probably be the only one I really pick up again. All the other ones are eh. And some 2FEA and 3FEA pills. I have one left of that, by the way. But, these are pretty addicting. I gotta be honest. I definitely still have the addict mindset when it comes to these kind of fluorinated amphetamine analogs. They tend to be like a little more rolly. Just anything that does that to me, it's pretty addicting, bro. So I gotta put that out there. It's very addicting. No lie about it. So I would not advise using this. This is really just, just an entertainment kind of thing. But again, if you are considering using this or have used it, leave it down in the comments below of, your best usage case for 3FA. Do want to know that, and leave it down for the other commenters as well to see that experience. But yeah, just be on the lookout for being addicted to these kind of drugs. You really got to make sure you're not taking it too much. You got to make sure you're on your supplement game, sleeping, not staying up all night all the time, and going to bed at normal time. It does help reset your mind. But other than that, 3FA gets I would put it like an 8.5 out of 10, because I was expecting a little more out of it. But hey, I was blown away of how similar it did feel to 4FA, and that's really what I wanted. I really wanted to experience that kind of a drug again. But other than that, very interesting chemical. Definitely gets an 8.5 out of 10 from me. And leave down in the comments if you guys have ever tried it again. I do love to read those experiences and, thoughts as well on the safe use of these chemicals. Please leave those examples down in the comments below. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please join the harm reduction to substance Discord in the link below and at the top of the channel. And please subscribe, like, and join as a member for early access to videos and other goodies. As you check out the tiers, and if you just donate 99 cents a month, you do get some access there as a member. So yeah, If you feel free to do that, please do so. But other than that, I hope you guys just stay high, stay lived, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.